Nice. This is so nice.
Wow.
Wow.
Did you
Did
watch?
you watch?
Wow.
Baba. Yeah.
Mascot, how are you, my friend? So good to see
Oh,
you, brother.
I'm
Superb,
fine. It's
superb.
wonderful.
I am so honored that you took this time out to come and talk to us and share your life with us and your experiences. When you were here last time, there was like so much we were talking, and I miss it so much. Every time we were in the car in the traffic, I would listen to you, and you know how we used to keep talking from town, from Mumbai all the way,
It,
and still I miss it so much.
I'm so pleased we can do it again. It's been a year, right? It's gone
I
fast.
think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Almost a year.
No,
Almost a year.
it was a beautiful experience. I'm so grateful once more. And it was life changing, really life changing.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is such a nice thing to hear from you.
Definitely.
Okay, Mascot. I'm practically a nobody in this capoeira world, but in
Man.
India, in India, I have this little group here, and we're trying to promote this. And in these times of tough times, I find that capoeira comes as a blessing and as a breath of fresh air, to all our lives here. It gives me, I mean, personally, me every morning, enthusiasm and happiness to wake up and to get back to my uniform, wear my uniform, put my belt on, and like what I used to do before the corona, I'm still doing. It's like 9 to 10 classes a day. So
Nice.
capoeira never stops. Capoeira actually never stops. I mean, how beautiful is that? One of my dreams was to have a capoeirista practice at home and show it to me. Now, yes, we're doing it together. It is like words
Right?
of words.
It's so good. I think we've all, likewise, I mirror all your sentiments. For me, I think it's really important. Everybody should have a space where they can create, a healthier version of themselves, a happier one. And what better environment to do that than with other people, It's an environment that gives us the courage to change and to feel better. And I think, empowerment comes from other people, and singing, dancing, fighting to solve problems. I mean, everybody should play capoeira, right?
I swear to you. Not only that, Mascot, not only do we get the opportunity to get into people's homes and give them some positivity and remind them that we are community and we stick together. We also got the opportunity to contribute over 2 lakhs of rupees for to feed India, to the poor people who cannot afford a meal right now because they're laborers and they are in camps and everything. So through our work here, through what we do, our jingas and everything, we managed to get some people on board and feed them. And that's a small bit, really, in the ocean of contribution. That's our small bit. But still, it feels good to be a part of something that the capoeira is doing for everybody.
Definitely. We feel here in the UK similarly. It's kind of like wartime, but the war is against unhealthy realities and human life and risk to human life. So the kind of wartime has always been a great time for solidarity, right? We have people
True.
clapping every day for the NHS. We have everybody doing stuff. I think as a capoeirista, what's been so amazing is this is an amazing thing that we should have been doing for a year, but now we've been motivated to do it because we're stuck at home. And actually what's been amazing, I'm very pleased to have been invited by you, so thank you. Me and Joyce and all of the people who have been following back-to-back Instagram lives with amazing mestres.
Wow, exactly.
Amazing
Yeah.
experiences, vivencias with mestres. And this is why I said to my students, actually, before you invited me, I said to my students, I wish they were taking part, but a lot of them don't speak Portuguese. And so having an English platform to talk about and try and share some of our experience, I'm very glad you invited me. It happened at the right time. So it's our chance to contribute, right? I'm
Definitely.
that I have a
Yes,
chance.
yes, yes. Like when this started in the beginning, it was like, wow, this is like a candy store. I go online and Master Idan is online, Poncininu, all the big masters, all the big names are there. You just pay €5, enter the class, and you get a treasure trove of information. And now it's I'm getting messages from all over the world. Last night there was a capoeira happening in Athens. This morning in Israel, in Brazil, in London. Papa is now in London, and he's spreading capoeira like wild from side to in these past years, 16 years that I've been teaching here, we are heights that nobody ever has seen what capoeira can be done with. And, morning, other places where, you still have like 20, 30 other groups or from other groups where you can get some inspiration. For us here, it is like really, really a treasure trove. We don't sleep at night looking at videos of people and try to
It's
learn.
amazing. If anybody is listening and wants to know, I would recommend 100% you going to India anyway, because India is amazing. But to visit you guys, I always highly recommend. One of the most beautiful things I said to you there that inspires me the most is the way you have a team of people working to
Definitely.
capoeira, and this is the dream of anybody. We are desperately trying to emulate that here as well, because once you have something bigger than yourself, you dedicate something bigger than yourself and an amazing project, like capoeira, we need everybody working to, full-time, part-time, volunteering. We need this. It's a community exercise, and I'm really, really, pleased that by the the work I witnessed when I was there for the invitation, and we're working very, very hard here to to bring together. We have lots of capoeira here in the UK, amazing groups. But actually what we have found, and this is very similar in Brazil, is now everybody is working together. Everybody works together. We have amazing relationships with every other group that works with capoeira in the UK. And, the kind of sense of solidarity is amazing here. Everybody works really well together.
Wow, that is so nice to hear. And definitely I always say that, after 23 years in capoeira, being around the capoeira all my 23 years since I first saw capoeira. Now I've come to the conclusion that, if you want one-man army business where you are the one who sings and who starts the hoda, who knows how to tie the berimbau, is gone. Today, if you want to run a capoeira academy and not have followers, but have students, I think it's important to have a team. And this is what happened this time with us. We are 12 of us here in India, including Delhi and Jaipur. And when the Corona thing happened, we were I'm going to do classes in the morning, you do in the evening, you do at night, you do. So everybody was going in different directions. But once we found that, if we all unite together and we do it morning, evening, and everybody gets the platform, everybody will see the best of best that is there in India right now. The instructors who've been here with me for 12, 13, 14 years that have been training with me, we could give them platforms. And that way we saw that it was wow, once we united, everybody liked it. Not only that, even the masters, Cueca, Rivivo, Makulele, they all got excited and they want to come and give us classes. So twice a week, once a week, twice, we get all our friends and people who want to help India grow in capoeira come and give us class. So all together it was man, this is a team. This is my family. This is the army. We are the front runners, and these people are helping us to go through this the trenches,
Yes.
from behind.
So we've gone quite deep quite early, which is good. We had an amazing conversation recently. We have an event once a year, celebrates International Women's Day, and the best.
Wow, that was an amazing event.
Yeah, we were very lucky as well because it happened 1 week before lockdown, literally.
True.
But the Sunday we had the most meaningful thing. I think it's the best thing that's happened to our work since we started 10 years ago, which is there was some amazing conversations about space and obviously about communication and really the essence of capoeira. And I think what you mentioned there about working together, I think there's a paradigm shift hopefully happening now in the world of capoeira, because capoeira is social. As you know, I've spoken to you before, I love sociology. I've been brought up in an academic house where my father works with sociology and has done. I talk about it a lot. One of the things about communities is sometimes we have this idealization of leadership, and we have this idea of, we've talked about mestre worship, and having this, and I don't blame, because it's obviously is a very traditional way of us achieving things, is having one person in the limelight, a charismatic leader. But what we talked about a lot in this event, and it's really interesting to see you seeing that positive as well, is once we allow capoeira to manifest, this is not just capoeira. So everybody has a voice and everybody's heard. I mean, this is why capoeira was important originally. It was giving a voice to those who didn't have a voice. But actually, we had many contributions. One that stuck with me was with a friend of ours called Morena, the student of Capoeira Mandinga, Mestre Marcel Capoeirinha. She teaches in Iceland, in Reykjavik. And she said, you know, when you're working with in social inclusion, people are excluded from society. The most important thing is to make them feel heard. You have to listen to them. And one of the things we have taken back from our event, and we're trying to really put into practice, is making sure every single member of our group feels heard. And that goes from the way you manifest your orders, the way you work. And I think this is the solution, perhaps, I hope, to many issues we find in capoeira. If we have a space that's for everybody, then you hopefully you destroy the walls of prejudice, of, you know, celebrity. Celebrity is a great thing, but actually in the world of communities, it distances people. Social distancing.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Nowadays, you know. And what's nice about, we've all been socially distanced, but the capoeiristas in the world have gotten closer together because their motivation is to be close to others and listen to each other, you know.
Definitely. That is so beautiful. That's so well said. Like, you know, to build a space where, you know, everybody can have a say and everything. And that's what we encourage, you know, during the meetings, like, you know, in our meetings, you know, the students, like, you know, they come out and they say, like, you know, are you helping people, like, you know, if they have any issues, like maybe there are some people who are, like, you know, closed, introverts, how do you help them? And you just need a word, like, you know, for them to speak out. And I think, you know, the capoeira or the space that capoeira provides helps them to come out and express themselves. And I'm so glad that
I think this is something I've learned, right? Because I think sometimes we all can be guilty of being very insensitive to, as leaders, it's a tough job. We're always going to be wrong. Something we do, if we don't lead too assertively, they you know, then that's wrong. But also if we're not sensitive. And one of my biggest inspirations in my life is my wife, Joyce. She is really a lot, and she is an amazing person because she's been able to give this space, but also she's very sensitive, and I think it's a very common thing about our events. We were more than happy to upset guests by telling them, no, you're not going to participate now. It's the student time, and naturally that sometimes can go against what people think of as a traditional, especially when it comes to But our students are in the foreground always in our capoeira, you know, and in our events. And this event recently, we found people saying this is the only event they've been to where they felt they had a space to play capoeira.
Wow. That is, what a compliment. You know, I hope after the coronavirus, our Capoeira Asia event in Goa, the 10 days that we go and do Capoeira Day with Master Swasuna, like, you know, we pull that one for the third time. I hope that we can pull this off and, like, you know, have you and Joyce come there as guests.
What a dream!
And, like, you know, what a dream! This one will be like a fantasy for everybody. I still see videos. Yet the day before yesterday, Pinocchio posted a video of Master Swasuna playing Makulele in Goa with us. And, like, you know, the year after that, Master Swasuna did a front flip into the swimming pool.
I guarantee to you, I've invited lots of our students to watch this. I hope they're watching. So let me invite them now. If you invite me and Joyce to your event, I will lead my group and say, you must come to India, guys. Imagine playing capoeira in India, in Goa. Just imagine it. Yes, Seda, you can come to my brother's wife is coming too. She's not a capoeirist. She just
I promise, and then I promise you the first butter chicken and garlic naan is from my side.
Well, this is the thing. I'm trying to feel like in India. I'm drinking some masala chai here. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yes,
I miss the Alfonso mangoes. I miss everything.
Oh my God. Yeah, the season has just begun, and the mangoes have just come out, and they're like, wow, like it's another world. Like these 3 months of Alfonsos are a different thing. Mascotti, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, what I really, really, as I progress in capoeira, I'm not Brazilian. I don't have a very good connection to Brazil. Like, I'm Indian, and traveling for me is very hard. The currency, everything is like a little bit times. Like I would say, today the dollar is at like 75 rupees, $1. I came to the country when it was 35 rupees. So in these past 15 years, it's come to like $75. So traveling abroad and experiencing capoeira and gaining that knowledge for me is really, really hard. So most of my work is like based in teaching children in schools, and it becomes a school curriculum. So during a school curriculum, I cannot leave. But watching your journey, I remember seeing you many, many years ago in 2010. I think first time we met in Master Lua Hasta's Pusada, and and it was an amazing experience. I used to just stare at you. I would say, man, this guy looks like Quaker's brother, and he's so much like Quaker. He speaks your the way you used to play, and it would remind me a lot of Quaker. But one thing that
if Quaker's watching, you're much more attractive than me, Quaker. I'm the B side.
So sweet of you, man. You're always modest. That's so nice of you. So, seeing all that and watching your journey and seeing how you, write songs, I'm also on my way to becoming a contramaster. I remember once Revivo said, Revivo said once that, when you go to Capoeira Ando during, one of the Capoeira Ando things, Master Swasuna calls all the contramasters, and you got to write a song or a ladaya. Like,
Okay.
yeah, and you're put at that test. Is it a test? Is it something that you have to like a must, or how do you come up with a song? And like, remember, you wrote a song for me also, one Aladaya that we have here in India.
I've written another one for you. Would you like to hear it?
We are.
Because as I mentioned last time, I love Mahatma Gandhi. He's one of the most important people. I kind of follow his philosophies. He's a very important figure for a lot of people here in the UK. He was a very big inspiration. And considering everything we said about what's happening with the coronavirus, what happened a lot here is panic buying, and people, now celebrating those individuals in our National Health Service, and there's a real sense of cooperation rather than competition. So I wrote this song. I'll say it in English for the people who don't speak Portuguese, and then I'll sing it. So the song is: the world is the size of your thoughts. So the size of the world depends on how you think. If you try and dampen your neighbor's light to make yours shine brighter, you will end up in the dark without being able to see. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. So that's my contribution and tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. I'll sing for you guys, yeah? Just one.
Por favor.
tamanho do seu pensamento. Seu mundo, tamanho do seu pensamento. Se apaga a luz alheia pra fazer sua brilhar, você vai acabar no escuro sem poder a entregar. Um olho com olho, o mundo acabará sem. Um olho com olho, o mundo acabará sem. Um olho com olho, o mundo acabará sem. Um olho com olho, o mundo acabará
yeah.
sem.
Yeah. Wow, very nice. The hearts are like flying here in my always, Mascote. You just raised the bar so high, like it makes it worth seeing everything that you're doing and aspiring to become like you. And the flame that you are burning here in London. I hope that I can be a small spark here in India and get all our people excited like you've got everything.
My friend,
The other thing I wanted to ask you now, with so many classes happening in London, and you are born and brought up English, and how does it work, to be a non-Brazilian amongst the Brazilians there? Is it a challenge, or you get you carved your own niche there?
I think it's the most common question I'm asked. Okay, what?
Yeah, it's mesmerizing. What you have around you is really all the Avengers.
Yes.
And you are also yourself an Avenger. Yes.
I think the easiest way to say for me personally is people ask me, is it do you find it difficult not being Brazilian, or is there a difference? For me, there's never been a difference for me, but there may be for other people. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't concern me not being Brazilian, but for other people it might do. But what I find commonly, I'll tell you a quick story, which is often when I go to events, I don't introduce myself. Hi, my name is Mascote. I'm a gringo. Nice to meet you. I just I make friends with people, and I've had many occasions that people don't realize I'm English, or it takes them a while to realize. And me and Joyce, my favorite version, this happens very often, but my favorite one is me and Joyce went to an event in the south of France, and it's the first time we met Marcelo Finco, who is an amazing friend of ours.
Oh, what a nice, amazing.
We were talking to him. He's a real joker. I like him a lot. And we were the whole week we came together talking and talking. It wasn't until the last night in the party we were chatting, and Joyce was talking about her difficulties of changing cultures, and after when she married me, she had to look for a visa, and you just saw his face. He has a face like, and it dropped him. Wait a second, what are you talking about? Mascote is English. And then he called me over and goes, Mascote, you're English. I said, yes. He goes, okay, from now on, it's just business, me and you, just business, no more French. So that's it. That was a nice story I like to share.
Yeah, that was lovely. That was so nice. Yeah. But do you think students will discriminate you because you're not Brazilian, and choose a Brazilian because he's Brazilian just because?
I think discrimination might happen. I think it's very common. I'll give an example of Indian culture. If I showed you the representation of your culinary culture here in the UK, you'd probably be crying a lot with what you find. The representation depends. However, if the place itself is run by somebody from India, it's all going to gain authenticity. And this is good and bad. Yeah, this is good and bad. So I think not being Brazilian means that I don't get an initial authenticity box ticked straight away. So I think, that's a good and bad thing, because obviously the bad side is that we have to work harder to demonstrate authenticity, or the person themselves might not take us on face value. But I prefer people not to take me on face value and have a superficial opinion of me, and then make decision. And it also sets the bar low. They have expectations for you to not know what you're doing. But I think on the other side, it's the obligation we have as non-Brazilians is yourself in India, myself in Birmingham. We are often the only, or if not the largest and the most important representation of a whole country. And I think that this happens in the UK. India, for example, is a huge continent of culture. And sometimes what we have here is often Punjabi or Bangladeshi or, you know, very limited experiences. And I think it's the same with Brazilian culture. Brazil is most of South America. And I've traveled Brazil extensively, lived there. And, you know, it varies a lot. I used to go to different places and pick up the accents. And they go, oh, are you from this place and that place? And the cultures change completely. So I think there's a responsibility for us to represent the culture. However, as I said before, surely everybody has that responsibility. Whether you're Brazilian or not, you're responsible to represent a culture positively, right? So the fact that someone, oh, you're not Brazilian, you need to represent my culture properly. Well, surely everybody should, Brazilian or not, we need to be representing it positively, right?
Yeah, because what I see, like, you know, with Master Idan in Israel, like he the groups also around there. But when you were in the presence of Master Idan and all the people there, you understood that this guy knows the culture. Like, you know, he is Israeli, he understands the language better than like, you know, a Brazilian who would come there and, like, you know, for instance, in India, like, you know, when I was in Israel, we would meet the female students with like 2 kisses on the cheek, hi, how are you, you know, and that would be the norm. But when I came to India, you did it a couple of times. You know, people took it like, oh man, this you're taking a chance on us, like, you know. So you wouldn't understand the culture. Suddenly, like, you know, you're hugging girls and it's going like, no, we don't do that in India here, like, you know. So would that be like, you know, an asset for us because we know what the culture here is, rather than like, you know, if I was Brazilian, I would like be walking in a class without my shirt and it would be okay, but you know, the parents are watching. It would mean another thing. You understand? But so because we have this this connection with the culture and we mix this capoeira together, our presentation is more valued and they understand it in their context rather than like, you know, like because when Master Swasuna, you know, teaches, he says like, you know, if you were on the street and you're like you know, and this guy comes into the hoda and he does this to you, what are you going to do? But we don't have that situation. How can I explain this to a student here, telling him you're on the street playing capoeira and some other guy comes on the street, and we are here social. Here we play capoeira so that you feel good, you look good, you enjoy yourself.
There's 2 important questions you've raised. I think to continue the one on authenticity, I think personally, your gender, your background, your ability in capoeira, it doesn't have any importance if you don't have authenticity in the eyes of others, right? So capoeira is a very critical community. So I think these things are earned. You know, even if I got given, you know, 6 new belts tomorrow, they will mean nothing. And actually, when that happens, it's worse for the person if they've not been given by the community and considered by the community. It won't exist. It's superficial. So I think it's the same case with any individual, is that within the capoeira world, it's a meritocracy that you get from earning it. So for example, as I just mentioned, when I go to events, I don't say what belt I am, I don't tell my history, but by somebody communicating with me, already they know what I know. And the same with any other person. So I think it's much more about if we take away the superficial and the face value, then everybody, it solves a lot of problems. So I think in terms of authenticity, it's about other people will give you that credibility. You don't have to worry about it. Other people will do that. They'll give you that. They'll decide if you're a valid reference or not. But obviously, as teachers, both of us, we are a reference point. We're a messenger. We're giving, you know, opportunities for people to know about the culture, but we have to guide them, because otherwise they can make mistakes. Like I use the example as if you can show somebody how to beautifully design something in Arabic, a beautiful design, and they think that's amazing, I'm going to tattoo it on my arm, and then they find out that it means something like completely superficial, that like you could get something on your arm that you don't know the meaning to. So we're the kind of translators and interpreters of the art form anyway. And I think when it comes down to culture, capoeira is big and strong enough that it can manifest in India, and there'll be some things that are culturally beneficial for Indians and some things that do not gel with Indian society. So what's important is capoeira is big enough and strong enough that it doesn't stop being capoeira if it manifests in Israel in an orthodox, you know, situation you know, with Jews, or in Palestine in the same situation, or in India, or in South Africa. What's important is it still is capoeira, because what's the biggest problem for me, this is all resuming what our discussion is about, is people associate capoeiristas as capoeira, you know, and I do capoeiristas, do the individual capoeiristas, do they own the capoeira, or does capoeira own them? So if I have to be capoeira, if I am the ultimate, you know, example of capoeira, that is small. I'm a small person in a small country, island. That's a small view of capoeira. Whereas if I see myself as a member of the capoeira community, as capoeira is the bigger thing, then I don't have to be the whole of capoeira. What's happening now with the world of celebrity? In the old days, you would have a capoeirista whose job was to only play berimbau, not even right? Then you'd have someone else who would only play pandeiro. In Messi Bimba's academy, all the women from his candomblé, you know, group, they'd come and just sing the chorus.
Everybody's sending hearts here. I've never received so many hearts. I am like just so proud. I'm so thankful to all these people watching here. You know, for me, I've never been given a platform like this ever in my life. I'm thanking Mascote and all Capoeira India for, you know, giving us this platform.
I have to be so grateful. It's the first time I've done this. I have to say, I have a tap. You can turn the tap off at any point if I talk too much. You can.
No, not at all. No. People are writing Mascote is so intelligent. You know, he's like an albino. He's an albino African. You have the blood of an African.
I have a friend. Messi's been here in Contramestre in South Africa. They have a student who's a friend of mine. He's from Angola. And he gave me his passport and said, "No, you can be you can be an albino from Angola. That's you're a traditional Angolano now." So with me with the flag, that was so amazing. I love him.
Wow.
But yeah, as I was saying, I think what we have the problem now is people expect individual celebrities to do everything. They base their capoeira groups around themselves. They like Mascote, right? One of the best things that happened to me once is I did one of these capoeira sample videos, right? Which we promote, and it was just me playing in the hall. It was very egotistical, and in the background I put an audio that I'd recorded of myself singing, and it was really egotistical. I was young in capoeira, and it was the time you realize that everybody's on social media, because I put it on Facebook, and Mascote on my Facebook wrote a comment: "Mascote, do you play the binimbau and play in the harder at the same time?" And that just showed me how the message.
And you know what, Master Swasuna comes with the best jokes. Like, you know, he's got the one-liners that, like, you know, like kill you for the whole day, man. Like, I remember in Capoeira Ando, the first time I had gone to Capoeira Ando, and all the masters, you know, where they sit down, where the samba happens at night, you know, where the restaurant is there in Capoeira Ando, and the masters are sitting there, like, you know, they have the sofas, and they are like laughing, and like, you know, somebody says something and all of them are on the floor and laughing, and I'm walking them going like, what is he saying? What are they saying there that is like so funny? You know, and it's so beautiful to see them, like, you know, when Master Swasuna sits and everybody's cracking. Have you heard Master Jogo de Dentro laughing with him?
Yes. Master Jogo de Dentro, after Master Swasuna, he's somebody up. Master Jogo de Dentro is a massive inspiration. He came to my first batizado. I lived with him for 2 weeks in Brazil.
My God.
He's an example of a human being. He is like a knight in shining armor.
Wow.
Amazing.
Such a beautiful.
I saw his live interview recently, and it's sort of thing you want to record and play back 70 times to just remind yourself. You know, one of his most famous quotes I love, we say in our academy, is "Aqui não costumamos falar mal de ninguém, mas tentamos corrigir nossos próprios erros." And it's saying here, we don't spend our time criticizing other people. Instead, we try and better our own flaws. It's a beautiful phrase, right? You know.
Very nice. Very well said. Very well said. Wow, I didn't know that you were like so close to Master Joguji then, bro.
Well,
Like,
I'd like to think so. I'm not sure if it's reciprocal.
Wow, wow, that's nice. They're asking us for you to play one of your songs here.
Oh, come on, guys. That was,
So, yeah.
say again.
Soe Maia Soe? No, that is yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay. All right, okay. You'll regret this, guys. If you give me permission, you'll regret Sou eu, Santa Mar, sou eu, Santa Mar, sou eu. Meu nome é Jesus, do podendo. Sou eu, Santa Mar, sou eu. O dia que eu fui falar de falou que tinha um pouco fechado, tinha patuá como seu protetor. Ô Santa Amaro, sou eu, Santa Amaro.
Mas
Sou eu, Santa Amaro, sou eu, meu nome é Jesus, não importa. Foi amada rasteira e rolê, meia lua ligeira pra valer, matero que deu medo no corpo. Essa lenda que se chama Visão. Ô Santa Amaro, sou eu, Santa Amaro. Yeah, sou eu, Santa Amaro, sou eu, meu nome é Visão.
sou eu,
Meu nome é Besouro, sou eu, Santa Mar, sou eu.
Beautiful. Wow, wow. Mascote. Valeu, valeu, Mascote. Beautiful. The hearts are just popping up here. The screen is filled with.
Stuck at home. I've got like a thing stuck in my throat from wanting to sing. I miss my students. I miss
Oh my God.
and singing. So thank you for the.
I know. The singing is so important. It's so, the other day, Kapitao and Shiva, we were like three of us, like, sitting and just putting the thing and singing our hearts out. I think 2 hours, we were like, just whichever song you end, we catch it. Like, it's like a Hindi Antakshari. So you end with an A, we start with an A. You end with a Pa, we start with a Pa.
Nice.
It was like masala chai.
The energy of your students is amazing. I've said there's very few places outside of Brazil that you feel the energy of Brazil. One for me was Africa, and the second of South Africa, and the second was India. My goodness.
Wow.
I said to you, for me, when I was in India, it was like we say o encontro das águas, né? A mixture of waters, because I'm English. And I was taught you a lot about how, for me, my relationship with India is a complicated one because I was brought with many Indian friends. But being English, I'm very aware of the history that English has in India, positive and very negative at the same time. I mentioned Mahatma Gandhi. But going to a tropical country like India, where they're doing Brazilian capoeira in the tropics, but speaking English is like a perfect environment for me.
Yeah. And remember Fala Mansa?
Yeah.
That guy, as soon as he came back from London, he was like just all praises, like you and Joyce. He was saying, man, they are like such a beautiful couple. I'm so fortunate that I came to know them. And like, I said, this is so, yes, definitely. That's
person. He's so polite, right? He's a wonderful gentleman.
Yeah. Oh my God! Even Furiosa and Salome, they go to the class with him, and he's like, no, no, till you don't eat this, have a juice. And he's such a gentleman, like, you know, to have around.
To all of your team, man. I miss them all a lot. I miss them a lot, man.
Yes, yes. Tell Mascote, I had this question. What do you think will be capoeira after the Corona phase? Do you think this interaction online would be another channel that people could, like, you know, have a platform to, you know, and
yeah, I think so. I think the first thing we need to do is a massive harder once it's finished.
Man, you know what? Kueka came online here and he did a class for us. And then he said, let's play online. I swear to you, I felt I was playing with him, like, you know, it was like I was kicking, he was escaping, and in front of the television.
Yeah. We've been doing, me and Espinho, Modassa and Joyce, we've been training together by Zoom, just us on our own. And me and Espinho have managed to put together several new sequences where we do both bits on the camera, and then he managed to film it and put it together so it looks like we're doing the sequence together.
Wow, wow, wow.
It's great. Been there for years, right? It was 2007 maybe when YouTube exploded and all these YouTube famous capoeiristas happened. And obviously, again, the technology is there to facilitate. I think you're now going to get lots of people moving online. Still now you have lots of people using it. It's a great tool. But again, it's, for me, that's a way to facilitate what we're already doing. So for people like yourself, you have an amazing work. So this is just going to help you to facilitate your access to your own students. I really believe that's the only difference. I think there's a worry, right? There's a worry that suddenly no one's going to, you know, do capoeira in our group. They're going to go and train with Mascote from Brazil. Why would they train with Mascote, right? But the difference is you know, what we do in capoeira is a physical thing and it's a personal thing. So it doesn't matter how much you do impersonally and non-physically, you cannot learn capoeira through those modems. You can facilitate capoeira. So for example, if you know what it feels like to play capoeira, if you've done it, if you've been involved in the culture, you can, like we're doing now, you know, we're in physical spaces, but we're still doing capoeira right here. But it's only because of our personal experiences. So it's the same thing we've been saying to our students. We've had such a positive response. Thank you to all my students who are watching. They've been training all the time, more than they trained when we had the studio, right? Yeah. But we said to them, this is a great opportunity for them to practice at home alone, which actually is not something that you can do in capoeira without, you know, your group. But actually, most capoeiristas, they need to learn to practice on their own, because some of your students will probably be so reliant on the work that you have that they don't have to do any, like, you're different, like myself, is we've had to hard graft something from nothing. So we know what it's like when we just want to play capoeira and there's no one to play capoeira with us. And that's the main reason why we start our groups, because we just want to play capoeira with somebody. We want a bateria, we need all the instruments, and so that's our motivation. And so for that reason, I think this is going to facilitate. But, you know, this is also the case of, you know, there's going to be a big shift, I think, in capoeira, where the future of capoeira is in capoeira groups and communities. Like, for example, São Paulo in Brazil has become a big example, like Salvador was when capoeira first started. Capoeira existed in people's houses in the Recôncavo of Bahia, outside. But it was in urban culture where they all had to work, that they were forced together, that capoeira flourished, because they had harders together. And so in America and in Europe and in India, it's the bringing together of people into a communal space. And again, if you take away the idea that capoeira is owned by one person, so even for you, somehow, Mascote's Academy or the Roda da República or Casa Mestre Ananias, these mestres are in charge, but it's a space for capoeira. Mascote never says, this is my academy. He says, this is our capoeira academy that I lead, and it's open to everyone. So I think that's the difference. The future is in capoeira groups, not in individual capoeiristas.
Wow, that was so profound and so special, like, you know, really very nice. Mascote, I wanted to ask you one more question, like, you know, as a contramaster. During the classes, like now that people are going online, you think, like, you know, because
We have a Mestre Corujas here.
Oh my God, Master Coruja, muito legal. Wow, what a respect, Master Coruja. Thank you so much. Master, we are speaking a little bit English here. Master, thank you so much, Master, for coming here. It's really an honor. Muito, muito obrigado. Muito, muito salve. Thank you so much. So the question was when we go online here, when we are teaching online, do you think that the capoeira is different online and when it's in class? Because in class you have the space, you have the academy, you have your equipment. Now that you're at home, what would be the main focus? Would it be just maintenance or would it be teaching that for you to?
Oh, I think teaching. I think there's no limit to the ways we can teach people. But this comes up. So I think actually to re-answer your question, if I can take my answer back and give you any way possible. But actually, capoeira, like everything, is a balance, an equilibrium between theory and practice. It's the most common dichotomy, yeah? So we can teach students in theory via the internet, but the practice has to come through them playing capoeira afterwards. So even if we have in our studio, we can be doing an exercise with students, even when it's 2 by 2. And one of the main problems is people struggle to bring that to the harder.
Okay.
So the class becomes a controlled reality. The harder is the uncontrolled, amazing reality of capoeira. So actually what I'm doing and Joyce is doing with our students is we're still practicing as we would do in the academy, working our individuals in theory. The struggle for them is going to be when we come back and they have to put that into practice. It's like reading a book or speaking in public. You can read all the books in the world, but it doesn't make you a good public speaker, or it doesn't make you have the confidence to write your own book. So actually capoeira is a language, a body language. We can teach them how to speak, but they have to there should be their own kind of creative process of creative writing. But we seem to be doing well. I think the students are enjoying the different experience, and it's complementary,
What Ronnie is Ronnie from Israel, Cobra?
Yeah,
Cobra is online. Hi, sweetheart. Hi. She's so beautiful. I see her always. She says, do we become more creative like when we are online and by ourselves at home? Do we try to become more creative for our students, or should we stay with the fundamentals? What would you say?
I think they're not opposite. They're not polar opposites. I think what's the problem is people think of creation as creating new things from nothing. As I mentioned before, I come from an academic background. Both my parents are academics. In academia, when you write a journal or you write a PhD, you can't just invent something and say, "Oh, I think the world is flat, and so this is the world is flat." We have this thing is standing on the shoulder of giants. So when you write an academic journal, everything you mention has to be referenced. You cannot, you say, I said this because this person said it. I said this. So you have a list of references. So I run our work in the UK, and this is why a lot of people don't understand, because they think, how can you represent? Well, because all I do is I reference Mestre Osuna, Mestre Acordeon, Mestre Jogo de Dentro, Mestre Da, Mestre, all the mestres. And when I teach a class, I don't say, I've just invented this. This is capoeira. I say, this comes from this reputable reference. But as a teacher, like every capoeirista, we can choose the references and the order. So we don't have to invent new words to write a sentence from the same language. So actually the creation process for students and for teachers is you can just choose which things you decide to use. Capoeira is massive. There's so many options. You don't have to create new stuff. So students should always be creating, but they need to limit themselves. The problem students have is it's very black and white. They think either you do anything you like or only do what your teacher says. What you need is a balance between you need to use your teacher's guidance only. Don't mix yourself up with too much information because you'll go crazy or you won't quite understand what you're doing. But if you give them 2 weeks on marriage compass with different variations, for example, they can create their own combination of what they've learned from you. So the creation comes from them writing their own ordered sequences. But that's the problem. People, students and teachers, they want to be different. I want to be special. I want to be unique.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is one of the is it a blessing or is it a what do you call it, a curse that that you want people's creativity, their individuality, and then it clashes with it becomes freaky or it becomes very good, so you have two
Yes.
polar sides, two ends. What was
Leon says it very well. He says that it's a quote from his father. It says, "In a democracy, we all have the right to choose, and
yeah.
sometimes we choose to be idiots, including us teachers." Another nice quote of his is, "Sometimes we can choose to be a generalist or a specialist, especially in
Oh yeah,
capoeira. We can
true,
choose
true.
to know something about everything or everything about nothing."
Man, that is like what a circle that you get into, and you're just moving around to transmit this culture in your country. What part of your capoeira journey did you realize that you wanted to transmit this culture to your
I
country?
think I've always been super enthusiastic. As you can tell, I'm a very excitable person. Maybe I drink too much coffee or not enough, or masala chai. I've always been super enthusiastic. So one of the things I've always done before capoeira is I used to love getting groups of people together. I used to
Oh
do
really?
birthday parties where I'd invite the whole school around, and nobody would talk to me at my own party, but I just wanted them all there because I wanted to see everybody doing stuff.
Wow,
Uh,
wow.
And I also, when I joined Capoeira, I was 14 and I was the kid. So one of the reasons why I'm called Mascote is because I was the only kid in the group. And I used to follow everyone out around like a mascot. I used to follow my team, follow them to the pub. And I think I just generally enjoy being around people in general. So I think it was natural for me then to think like he does, but I've learned how to do it by myself. And the reason why I wanted to learn do by myself is because I wanted, before the batizado, to get all the belts ready for my teacher, to be able to facilitate him to spend time doing other things. As soon as I learned how to play the instruments, I wanted to contribute and sing so my teacher could play in the harder. So I think it was a natural progression for
Wow,
me
wow, that is so nice.
to facilitate. As I mentioned, as soon as I thought, well, I've got an opportunity to help more people do capoeira.
Wow.
I've said this to many people, including yourself. I love Simon Sinek, who is an
Yeah,
amazing person to follow. And one of his
true.
great quotes is, "There's a big difference," and I follow him a lot. Is there's a big difference between providing a service and being willing to serve. So I'm
Oh,
not interested in providing a service or getting a title or status. I just always want to be here to help other people. And the fact that I can
wow.
do that as a living is then a blessing to me. It's a
It's a
blessing.
blessing. Yeah. In my case, when I started learning capoeira in 1999, I think I started my first capoeira lessons there in Israel. And the first thing I did was to find out if there's something like this in India. That was my first. So there was no Google that time. I don't think there was a Google search engine or something like that in those days. So the only people that we knew were friends who were back home here, and we sent them a message. Does anybody know about capoeira in India? So my wife is Indian, and she told me, you know what? If you take this to India, this would be an amazing tool for for people, and everybody loved this. And I took her word. Me, actually, I wanted to come and open a restaurant here. I was in the restaurant business, and I had a franchise. I had a friend who wanted to, open a cafeteria with French crepes and everything. So that was the plan. But once I came here, and the plan didn't work. The restaurant plan was like, just floating, and it was not materializing. And the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that kept me going was capoeira.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing, I would get up in the evening, I would go to the park, I would put my chair there, and I would practice and practice like 2 3 hours. What Quick taught me, around the chair, this is your friend, remember, don't forget it. And I would keep doing that. And as I kept on practicing by myself, when I was in Israel, I had the group that I would go to. But now I'm practicing on my own, and something else happened there during
Mm-hmm.
those times. I
Mm-hmm.
felt good. I felt positive that, what, the little that I know, I can share. And that thing, even I listen to, speakers like Simon Sinek. I was introduced to Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn had this little. Have you heard of Jim Rohn?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Jim Rohn has a very simple way of speaking and everything.
Yeah.
And he said the story about when some people went to Jesus, and they went to Jesus and they said to him, Master, you're the master of masters, and you know everything about being a master. What job should I do, or what profession should I do that will make me feel good, smell good, my life will be good, and basically have a good life. So Jesus said, be of service to many. And that was the one thing that caught my thing. And then when you look at it and you understand it, it is about being of service. What do I do in this lifetime? What is my message to this earth?
Yeah.
And that's where it came in. I picked it up, and today I tell you, really, after like 15 years of doing capoeira every day in this country, today I'm at a position that, yes, what they say, if you be of service to many, many will be of service to you. I feel that right now. All these 60 people sitting here and watching are helping me in this time of stress when I was there. So it's all like, it's like a yin-yang happening right now in my life. And that's, once I understood that and I did my first class, there was no looking back. So there was never a plan in my head to come and start capoeira here. It was just a circumstance that made it happen. And now we are like, glove and a hand together. We cannot be separate.
Indeed. I think that's exactly the same for myself. We didn't plan on teaching. I think we just have an enthusiasm to see capoeira succeed, right?
Yes.
That you do that changes all the time, but it just is an obvious progression to teach. But I recommend to students who consider the possibility. I mean, we're all teachers, because actually a lot of students, whether they realize it or not, if they go and meet a friend and they say, oh, what are you doing tonight? I'm doing capoeira. And then they have to
Mascot, wonderful. I'm sure, we're going to do this again with you, and we'll have more, more deeper questions and more information that we want to dig out of you and have with you. But before we go, can we have another beautiful song from you?
Oh,
and
I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing this. I think it's after an hour it stops, but now we have another hour or whatever. I think that's how it works. But,
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. There's so many beautiful people here just sending me hearts here. All I'm sending it back to you, Mascot. I wish I could change the screen and you could see the hearts here. But I thank all my students here, each one of you personally. I'm going to come to your house as soon as this corona gets over. Me personally, in my car, I'm going to come to your house and give you a big hug. And we're going to sing our songs just like this again.
So I don't know if there's time for if people have questions and they want to write questions. That's cool.
Oh yes, definitely. We have an hour left. Anybody has any questions? Please.
Let me, because I know there's a lot of amazing Portuguese material out there. This is in English, so I'd like to translate the song first because maybe people might not know what it means. I wrote this song because I saw a program called, it was me and Joyce, we saw the film. It was called Que Horas Ela Volta, and this film was about the maid situation in Brazil, of a live-in maid, right? And Brazil is a colonial country, and you know everybody knows the history of Brazil. So I wrote this song saying, because there's a lot of arguments to this, that Brazil never really had a kind of civil rights movement since after the time of slavery, and actually that's where the favelas and shantytown comes from, and often you have these live-in maids who live in the house. They don't even have autonomy of anything, and effectively this film's demonstrating how it's kind of a reinvention of colonial slavery, with somebody living in a big rich house and then having somebody work for them. This is a common thing in many places in the world. But especially in Brazil, one of the reasons why capoeira is still very important is because they feel that the fight against slavery is not finished. So I wrote this song, and they had a protest once that they used to sing, yeah, acabou, and they used to say, you know, not that they used to sing. And so I wrote this song as a kind of protest song, saying enough is enough. Yeah, acabou, o nego não quer mais ter senhor. Yeah,
acabou no nego.
O nego não quer mais ter senhor.
Não quer mais ter senhor.
So yeah, enough is enough. We don't want a slave captain anymore. We don't want a madam or a sir. And saying hundreds of years have passed since they signed the slave treaty. And slavery has just transformed itself. It's still the same, and we can still see slavery. And also to say that capoeira has become a global thing. But it doesn't have color, it doesn't have creed, doesn't have race. You can have doctors, and every single person plays capoeira, but they're all feeling the same pain, and they're all still fighting for the same liberation movement against slavery. So that's
beautiful. Beautiful. Mascote.
Já faz 100 anos que o nego se libertou. E a Isabel, o papel ela assinou. Ainda eu vejo o chicote do feitor. A escravidão apenas se transformou. Chega, acabou. Yeah, acabou. Yeah, acabou. O nego não quer mais ser senhor. O nego não quer mais ser senhor. E a capoeira não perdeu a sua cor. Mas hoje em dia joga dama e doutor. O mundo inteiro sentindo a mesma dor. Juntos cantando, o povo já acordou. Chega, acabou. Acabou. Acabou.
Acabou.
O nego não quer mais ser senhor. O nego não quer mais ser senhor. Chega, acabou.
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 O nego não quer mais ser senhor. O nego não quer mais ser senhor.
Abau! Very good. Mascote, you know any songs from Master Ezekiel?
Oh my goodness, now it's let me get some more tea. Vou contar uma história para todo mundo ver. No tempo do cativeiro, nega apanhava pra valer. O lua abraçou a ele, ele
Elua, Elua branca, Elua. Elua branca, Elua.
Mas o tempo foi passando, tudo isso foi mudando no engenho do Senhor. Hoje o trânsito e os meios é se chamaram de você. Elua branca, Elua branca, Elua branca, Elua branca, Elua branca.
Elua branca, Elua. Elua branca, Elua.
One of my favorite mestres, my goodness. Mestre Ezequiel.
Wow. Yeah, the other day, Papa was online and he was singing these songs. And Kapitao, he called me and he said, Baba, these are the songs, when we had started Capoeira here. I had one CD that Quake had given me, and I used to play that in the class all the time. And it was
Mestre Deputado and Mestre Onça Negra. They came to the UK in 2004 and stayed in my house. Mestre Onça is, oh my goodness,
yeah.
Pushing to us, and he bought this CD, which is a picture of a guy holding a beating barrel on black and white. I used to listen to that CD and sleep. It was like one of the Capoeira CDs I got after Mestre Cordeon and Mestre Asuna, of old masters, and it was like I'm listening to someone who's not alive anymore. It was very spiritual for me, and I used to sleep with that song. And as you mentioned before, we were asked to, as students and as teachers, were asked to learn a ladainha. The first ladainha I learned to sing was one of his, and it's about 3 minutes long. I did all this preparation. I remember we came to the music class and they said, everyone's going to sing the ladainha. And then when it was my turn, I was there for like half an hour singing a song. I was like, okay, I thought you were just going to do like a short quadra or something. I sang like half an hour because he's very operatic. He's an amazing.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. That is so beautiful. Mascote, all the guys that are writing to me here, they're saying next time we're having a batizado, we want Joyce and Mascote both in Delhi and Jaipur. Guy, you coming back again here very soon. Make sure.
As soon as the airports are open, I'm there.
Once again, I want to thank all my students and all the people that are watching here for giving us this opportunity to be here and share our small journey, insignificant journey that we are traveling. I am committed to this art, with mind, body, and spirit, and even with family. I hope that Capoeira, never stops. And it keeps growing like this and lightening up people's lives through our teachings and our messages. I want to thank everybody who participated here, and most of all to Contramestre Mascote for being here.
Thank you.
Taking part.
If we're going to wrap up a bit, can I be untraditional and can I finish with a ladainha? We normally start with a ladainha, yeah? I can finish, but when we finish, I'm gonna finish with a message I want to leave.
Okay. We won't get demoted or anything, eh?
No, I don't care. That would be good. More time to learn. If I'm demoted, I will have more time to learn.
Learn.
Like ladders. If I go back to the beginning, I can start again.
Man, there's not an ounce of negativity in you. Even in the negative, you find a positive thing. That's so beautiful. That's so nice. That's so nice of you. Go ahead. The lada is yours.
Yeah, so this ladainha I wrote because of celebrity. Yeah, I wrote this because of conversations with yourself in India last year. My experience with Joyce, Modassa, Messi Spinhil, and Messi Osuna about community. Yeah, and so I'll try and translate in my head before I sing. But it's saying, for those people who chase the stars that shine in the sky, to remember that they live a long way away on their own. And in a cruel reality. I prefer to look at the world and give value here to other people. Because for me, friendship is worth more than money. For those people who want to be a star, I feel sorry for them because a child who has family is never on his own.
Wow.
That's the message I wanted to leave you guys to finish, yeah?
Thank you so much. I hope everybody listening here gets a little bit of, idea of what we are talking here. Thank you, Mascote.
Thank
Please
you.
go ahead. שושה, אח שלי, נשמה, אני אוהב אותך.
Pra quem olha pras estrelas, pra quem olha pras estrelas, brilhando lá no céu, é bom lembrar que estão longe, sozinhas e cruéis. Eu prefiro olhar pro mundo, dar valor ao que pros outros. Pra mim vale a amizade, mais do que dinheiro no meu bolso. Quem tem a cabeça nas estrelas, odorando seu aspecto, essa luz que te ilumina, está te deixando certo. Pra quem quer ser uma estrela, eu tenho pena, tenho dó, porque filho que tem família, ele nunca fica só, camaradinho,
Oreor, camarada. Vamos embora, camarada.
Que vai fazer?
Que vai fazer, camarada? Com capoeira, camarada.
Eu vou dizer a meu
Senhor.
manteiga derramou, e a manteiga não é minha manteiga, é minha.
Vou dizer a meu senhor que a manteiga te amo.
Manteiga de rainha, a manteiga de ouro.
Eu disse a meu senhor que a manteiga te amo. Vou dizer a meu senhor que a manteiga te amo. Nice. Mascot, the hearts are just popping up here all the way. Nobody's printing anything. They just have the fingers swept.
Do one more. Messi Spin Hills just joined. My best.
Contramestre! Wow, Espinho. Muito obrigado. Muito achei, my friend. Muito respect.
Everywhere I go, I sing this because of Messi Spin Hill, because he's my best.
Please, yes, I know the song. Let's go, India. We are with you.
La 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 la.
Vamos, India.
La eu vim no barco sem permissão nenhuma, mas meus irmãos talvez possam te encontrar. Nessa vida eu sei que eu não vou voltar, mas meus amigos são a lua, céu e mar. La 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 la
La la la la la la la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Away, my brew. Away,
My brew.
Away, away, my brew.
Master Espírito.
Away, my brew. Away, my brew. Away, my brew. Away, my brew. Away, my brew.
Wow, very good. Mascot, That was so beautiful. We had Master Kurujao and Master Ispiru here. This is like, never happened before seen for Capoeira India. You just made everything so beautiful by your presence here. I really, really thank you for this. One last thing before you go.
Yes.
What song would you relate to this situation that we are in? What Capoeira song would you say, if we could put it, it would mean the same as now for this situation? What song?
So the one I mentioned at the beginning, I wrote to kind of give people the inspiration to try and think in the bigger picture, right? Think in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Volta do mundo, né? Think about the size of the world and the size of where we are in Capoeira. I think for me, to summarize everything, one is difficult. But I think to summarize and suggest to people the best thing to do is the song they like, the songs that people connect. Everybody brings their own meaning to a song, to a capoeira song they want to. So for me, if you had asked to pick, it's difficult. My favorite song, my favorite capoeira song
for this situation.
For this situation, okay. I think for me, this situation, like we said, in terms of the coronavirus, everybody being separate and bring back together, the songs I sang was to try and create, unity between each other. But I think the best thing, one of the best songs for me is one by a friend of mine called Contramestre.
Yeah, very nice.
And that's why I think, I would sing this song. If you want, I can sing this song. This song is Uma Andorinha Só.
Andorinha. Wow. Yes, Andorinha.
That we all need each other. We all need
each
other. And now
that is
solidarity. You're giving me too much liberty here. I told you. If you let me sing,
the tap is open.
Imagine eu sozinho no mundo, sem ninguém pra repartir meu pão. Imagine eu correndo feliz, sem ninguém pra estender a mão. Eu não quero o dinheiro dessa vida. Seu preço for solidão. Eu só quero ter amor, minha família, meus irmãos. Não faz não. Andorinha só não faz verão. Não faz não. Andorinha não faz verão. Nessa vida todos temos provas. Temos que aprender a lição. Se levo rasteira, me chateio, mas eu tenho que levantar do chão. Aprender com meus erros e ir pra frente. Porque viver errando eu não vou não. O que vale na vida é sentimento e que tem no coração. Faz não. A guria só não faz verão. Faz não. A guria só não faz verão.
Baz is here, my friend Baz. Thank you so much, Mascote. Exactly the song that I had in mind.
My head is this big by the end of this interview.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to thank all the people, especially Baz also, who just woke up and he just come and given us his presence here. Thank you so much. Mascote, everybody's asking, would you come online and give us a class in the coming weeks if we are still in our quarantine here?
Anytime.
That's so nice of you. Mascote, you're a gentleman and a beautiful capoeirista. Thank you, Baz. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. And I hope that our connection that we made last year continues forever. You know you can rely on me anytime. And I'm sure that my students and your students, we're the same family. So let's
Inshallah.
As
Inshallah.
And Contramestre said, start together, finish together.
Start together. Thank you so much, Mascote, and all the masters and all the students and everybody watching here.
Thank you.
This is our life here, and we have shared a little bit of it. Please be tuned and like, post, share, and see what we will do in the coming days. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Boa noite. Bom dia for those who've just woken up, and have a great day. Mascote, the last word is yours.
Oh, I just want to thank you and thank everybody who came and everybody's support and for the opportunity and for the patience.
The Mascot, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You have a great evening. Give my hugs and regards to Joyce, and we will soon meet, inshallah. Abrasa. Bye bye, everybody.